Today marks 50 years since Ceefax first appeared on our screens, the world's first teletext service. Do you remember it? Now, Ceefax was developed by BBC broadcast engineers in the late 60s who found spare lines in TV pictures that could be used to transmit words and numbers. There was everything you could ever need: the news, the sports scores, the weather forecast and TV listings with just a few clicks of your remote control. With all of this on offer, Ceefax quickly became a sensation. By the 1990s, 22 million people were using the platform weekly, making it the most read news source in the UK. But then the internet and smartphones took over and the service came to an end in October 2012. So 50 years on from its first appearance, Tim Moffat has been looking back at the history of Ceefax.
Ceefax, a name manufactured from seeing facts.
It was mind-blowing. Text on your telly.
You don't even have to wait for the next news bulletin before you find out what the news is, because it's like a book or a giant encyclopedia with hundreds of pages, and you can dial any of those pages as you go.
The scene's now set for the thousands of viewers with Ceefax sets, perhaps over breakfast, to read the latest news at the time they want to.
Hey, what's that about South Wales on there?
Long before the internet, Ceefax was at the cutting edge of technology.
This will be changing all the time. As the financial,
right.
the index is changing.
If the index changes, it can be updated more or less instantly.
Okay.
The Centre for Computing History in Cambridge, where teletext fans and pioneers have been celebrating its anniversary. Cutting the cake, Ian Morton-Smith.
Early morning, when the first Ceefax newsman, Chief Sub-Editor Ian Morton-Smith, arrives for duty.
I was there at the beginning, watched it grow. I think there were 4 sets when Ceefax first started that were equipped to receive the signal. And by the time I left, there were 22 million viewers. You controlled access to the information. That's what made Ceefax special. And then, of course, along came the internet and killed it stone dead.
Ceefax's financial section.
For those using Ceefax for the first time, the big question.
Graham, how does Ceefax work?
Well, it's an ingenious way of using the television signal to get pages of information onto the TV screen. The normal television picture is made up of a number of lines, but there are spare lines at the top, and we use these lines to carry Ceefax.
A program system of an entirely new kind.
Teletext took off.
And it's all done at the touch of a button.
After Ceefax came Oracle on ITV and later Foretel on Channel 4.
It's fascinating insight into the past.
Jason Robertson has archived thousands of teletext pages.
1981, Sunday the 12th of April at 5 to 1. These are the pages that you would have seen.
Old television programmes recorded on videotape also contain teletext information from the time.
People have been very generous and sent me loads of videotapes. I've got a garage full to go through.
They need someone to decode that information,
yeah,
and that's where you come in.
That's where I come in.
Why do this? Why archive all these old pages?
I mean, we've got newspaper archives, loads of those. Why not a teletext archive as well? Because the good thing about teletext, of course, is it's impartial. Newspaper archives can be quite partisan, but Ceefax has to just tell the facts.
Heavy set and blocky fonts and vibrant, violent hues imparting TV listings, the weather, sport and news.
The 50th anniversary has inspired this tribute from poet James Domestic.
With super chunky graphics and clunky animations, everybody knows the joy was in its limitations. It's a very nostalgic thing. I mean, I remember growing up in the 80s and 90s and you'd see it, and it really does, you know, it sort of almost didn't notice it had gone at first, and then suddenly you do, and then it's just not there. This town's too small for both of us. Ceefax, you must be shelved. Ceefax knew the web had won and skulked off in 2012.
But when it began, Ceefax seemed to be paving the way to a digital future.
Chess, bridge, crossword puzzles and many other games appeared to lend themselves to the format of the television screen. And looking even further ahead, there's the really exciting possibility of using a domestic television receiver as a home computer terminal. Far-fetched? Well, hardly. After all, it's not so very long ago I discovered that by doing this, I get that.
The good ship Ceefax, pioneering, popular, but swept aside by the tides of technology. Tim Muffet, BBC News.
Lots of you love Ceefax.
Yeah, it's amazing,
Lots
isn't
of
it?
you.
Quite nostalgic it is. We've had lots of you in touch this morning with your memories of watching it, and also memories from Ian this morning, who worked on it.
He sent in these photos from sometime during the 1970s. He worked as part of a team looking into ways to display text on TV screens. These are very good photos.
He's the original Mr. Ceefax. They eventually created the system which adjusted the number of characters on a row and the number of rows on the screen, and the rest is television history.
And of course,
Ian,
that was
thank
really
you.
important, wasn't it? Because you used to write Ceefax.
I did. I remember working on it, and you had to get exactly the right number of characters for the headlines and then all the following lines.
It's not easy.
You'd have a complicated story, you have to sub it down to like 3 paragraphs.
It's like going in and doing a crossword every day.
And I never knew how it worked until this morning and I saw Tim's piece. Great
That doesn't
stuff.
surprise me.
No, I've no idea.